Thanks for tuning in. In this video, I'll be discussing the Bosozoku Gangs of Japan. I'll explain their origins, structure, and impact on Japanese society. Let's begin. Bosozoku is a delinquent subculture based on speed, thrill, and extreme motorcycle and vehicle customizations. The Bosozoku subculture found its roots when kamikaze pilots who survived World War II returned to Japan in the 1950s. These veterans could not adjust to ordinary civilian life after experiencing so much violence on the battlefield, so they established motorcycle gangs that would cruise around neighborhoods at night. They enjoyed the high speed, high risk rides along with the thrill of being chased by the police. They ran these gangs like the military, with brotherhood being paramount. As the war generation grew older, a new generation of disgruntled teenagers began to replace them in the 1960s. This new generation brought the media attention by driving recklessly in very large groups of motorcycles. This is when they were named Bosozoku as a whole. Boso meaning running around, causing problems, and Zoku meaning tribe. This subculture immediately embraced the name for its reference to speed and violence. The Bosozoku gangs were mainly comprised of boys from working class families, usually around 16 to 20 years old. Most gang members lack education and drop out of school. Older gang members would often impress young kids by showing off their bikes and violent behavior. The hierarchy within each gang clique would be slightly different, comprising of up to 15 different positions ranging from clique leader to captain to recruit. Branch or clique leaders would not be older than 25. Even though the Bosozoku subculture was primarily dominated by males, there were also female-only gangs. These female gangsters often rode their bikes alongside their male counterparts. They weren't just in the big cities either, they had a large presence in rural areas as well. Individual gangs during their peak would have around 200 members, while alliance meetings and rides would number in the thousands. As Bosozoku culture was on the rise, gatherings and gang rides became more popular, slowly becoming more fast, loud, and reckless over time. These infamous gatherings would come to be known as Kaminarizoku, meaning lightning tribe. These meetups, up to 100 gang members would gather at an assembly point. From there, they hit the road as one big convoy, linking up with other gangs in their alliance along the way. The planning and execution of these gang rides required a lot of organization. The leader and their captains would be at the front, forging the path for the convoy. In the middle, members would often proudly wave their flags and make as much noise as possible, while slowly swirling down the street. The task for the guys at the end of the convoy was the most difficult. They are responsible for fending off any police that try to pursue the convoy. The Bosozoku gangs were also known for their unique fashion style. The tokkofuku, meaning battle clothes, became their trademark. These long jackets were decorated with mottos or symbols shared by the gang. Also, writing was added by the individual to personalize the jacket. Underneath the jacket, members often wore work coveralls, adding to the distinct Bosozoku look. Today, even some prefectures like Hiroshima banned the tokkofuku from being worn in public. The preferred vehicle of the Bosozoku gang member were locally built 250 to 400cc road bikes called kaizusha, meaning modified vehicle. The Honda CBX 400F and the Yamaha XJ 400 are among their favorites, prized for their affordability as many gang members spent most of their incomes on customizations. Flamboyant paint jobs, flags, modified exhausts, large fairings, and gigantic sissy bars are usually giveaways for a Bosozoku bike. Symbols such as rising suns and their own distinct gang symbols became standard to each gang's brand. Some even had customized horns that played melodies that their particular gang adopted as its own. The National Police Agency of Japan, which is like the FBI over there, reported that there were more than 40,000 Bosozoku gang members in Japan by the 1980s. The post-war bubble economy of the 1980s only fueled the problem. These young teenagers turned the streets of Japan into their own playground, defying any authority figure that gets in the way of them. Although Japan isn't known for being a violent place, territorial feuds between rival factions often turned violent. The common practice was to find and abduct rival gang members, beating them to a pulp and leaving them in the street, while keeping their tokkofuku as a trophy. The violence could turn deadly. There are stories of gang members tying up rivals by their feet and dragging them with their bikes for several hundred feet. But more often than not, fights were a show of heart, a demonstration of fortitude, to see who is the one that gets hit but keeps fighting. Fighting was the most common way of gaining respect amongst your peers. Because Japan has strict gun laws, Bosozoku gangs never carried guns. Instead, they used knives, metal bats, chains, pipes, and other improvised melee weapons. At the forefront of the Bosozoku world are two gangs, Black Emperors and Spectres. It's these gangs who started claiming territories, which often led to violence. Each gang's unique code influenced their approach to using force. For instance, Spectre excelled at guerrilla tactics. They would position themselves along Japan's Route 357, laying down with ropes laying across the road. As rivals approached, they would tighten the ropes, causing the rival bikes to trip. Recognizing that territorial disputes were the root cause of violence, alliances began to form. The Spectre No. 1 gang, started in Urayasu, a city in western Chiba Prefecture, was the first one to forge an alliance between gangs in western Chiba and eastern Tokyo. Later on, all Chiba-based gangs united under the United Chiba Somei Rengo Car, consolidating three smaller coalitions into one formidable force. In the early 1990s, the Japanese government introduced new anti-gang laws. This put an abrupt end to the Bosozoku lifestyle of roaming freely, evading the police, and violent territorial disputes. The laws were created with the intentions of crushing organized crime in Japan. Due to the drastic turn of public opinion towards criminal activity, the existence of the Bosozoku were threatened due to their public visibility. These laws, if anything, made it easier to detain Bosozoku members, as members often got arrested while on the streets. Even when they didn't commit a crime, they would end up in juvenile hall if their parents didn't come to pick them up. As Japan transformed into a fully developed society that wouldn't allow any flaws in the system, the number of Bosozoku members quickly petered out. Only a shell of what it used to be remained. Today, the Bosozoku gangs of Japan are virtually extinct, with the Kamagaya 1 branch of the once mighty Spectre gang as the last standing group. As a former leader of the Spectre gang quoted, "Japanese society will not let the average lowlife succeed at life by doing low-life things." If you like this type of content and want to know more about the Japanese underworld, please leave a comment and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.